McKinney Boyd Lady Broncos team. The run for the state title ended in the state semifinal match against New Braunfels. I'm joined by their head coach, Kelly Quinn, and thanks again for joining me, Coach Quinn. And going into the playoff run, to finish off district, you won your last 9 matches after losing the first one. How did that help build your confidence going into the playoffs?
Well, I think that, from the very first district game to the very last district game, we did a lot of growth, not only as skill-wise, but just as a team. I think our first district game, it was kind of, like I said, I think in the last presentation, it was Freaky Friday. We had 3 injuries, and but after that loss to Plano West in the first district game, we rebounded and we really gelled together as a team. And winning 9 straight district matches in our district is quite an accomplishment because we are, definitely one of the strongest districts in the state of Texas.
Right, not just one of the strongest, but as far as depth and quality of teams.
Right.
So tough to do that. In the first couple rounds of the playoffs, you play some easier opponents, you get through, and then the quarterfinals of the regional, you play Plano West, a team that beat you in district. What was it about your team that was able to defeat them in that circumstance?
We played Dallas Skyline the first round, which we've played them 3 times prior to this year. This was our 3rd year to play them. And then we played Naaman Forest, and both of those I was able to get a bunch of players in, basically getting that experience on the bench to be able to have playoff experience. And then when we went into the Plano West in the 3rd round, the quarterfinal round, I had no doubts. I had no doubts, but I think that how we dominated that team on that day, it was. I heard some of the girls talking out about the match after we were finished playing, and I think it was their coming to with their self-confidence as a team to really say, wow, we're connecting, we're peaking at the right time, and that's as a coach, that's the only thing you can hope for is, when you peak at the right time. If you peak too early and you lose momentum towards the end of the season, that's never a good thing. And I truly believe that we are peaking at the right time. And I think that I believed it, before the team did, but I think that those girls really saw the fact that they really were peaking against Plano West. I mean, we dominated them, and that's a good team. So I was very, very proud of the team for that win.
A quick 3-set effort, no problems there. You go against the Woodlands and Plano in the regional tournament. Had to feel like you were the best team going into that tournament, although some would have said that the Woodlands were the favorites in the regional tournament. You beat both teams in 4 sets. Very, not necessarily the drama of the 5th set, very clean victories.
I would agree. It's hard when you get up into the regional tournament and the state tournament, very rarely do you have easy matches anymore. I mean, unless you're just completely dominating and you're superior to everyone, it's usually a back and forth match, and I think that showed with the Woodlands. The Woodlands was a very good team. I was very proud of that victory. They had an excellent setter, 2 strong outsides, a great middle, a great team. I mean, really, really solid team. I know that they were, projected to win, but, that's what stats and, the newspapers say, actually. But I didn't have any doubts. We had watched film on them, and we were prepared to play a very competitive match, and I think it showed. We definitely were prepared for that match. And then, of course, when we played Plano in the finals, again, that goes back to how strong we are as a district as a whole. If you get all the way down to the regional finals and you're playing the 1st and 2nd teams in our district in the regional finals, I mean, that's the top 8 teams in the state. And, 1 and 2 are in the same district. That shows a lot. So that match was pretty interesting just because of that dynamic that we have with being in district, So I was proud of that match for sure.
You head into the state tournament. Talk about the week of preparation. What was that like in preparing your girls for the trouble that they would face with some quality teams in that state tournament?
Well, the good thing about after the regional tournament, you play on Saturday, and then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prepare. This is the first Tuesday that we had off, and we didn't have a match. We just had to practice. And so we had really, really focused on New Braunfels. And I really feel like we had prepared the girls. We had watched film on them. We had created a scouting report on them. We had seen, I had called a few different coaches to kind of hear their take on their strengths and weaknesses. And I I genuinely feel like those girls were prepared, and it showed. I mean, we came in strong to that match. some things don't always work out as you want to, especially when you have kind of that first set like we did. So.
Right. You have your top player, Mullet. She goes down with an injury in the middle of the first set. And when that happens, as a coach, what was immediately going through your mind when you realized you're not going to have her the rest of the way?
My first reaction is, I hope she's okay. When she's taken off the court, I immediately go into keeping your team calm and positive, because that's the two most important things to do as a coach, is keeping them calm and keeping them positive. And we practice how we practice, just regular practice. We practice with everyone. We do a lot of 6-on-6 things, and so they were used to playing next to other girls, and so actually taking Megan out of the mix was something that we practice on a daily basis. And so, again, I don't think that they were. I think they were shocked. I think everyone was shocked, but I don't think that it was something that they had never. It was something we had practiced, so it was good. There's always that emotional toll it takes. I wasn't able to, as I'm coaching the girls, I glance over and I have some of my starters that are, rotated off down at the end of the bench talking to Megan when they should have been focused on the game. But that's girls, and that's how much that they care for each other. And trying to keep them focused, it took about a game and a half. We lost the first set, even though we were up when Megan went down. That we lost the second set pretty close as well, and then the third set we were down 18-11 or something close to that, and Kelly Coop went on a run. She played out of her mind. She had the best match of her entire high school career right when she needed to, and so we really relied on her. In the third set I flip-flopped our 0-1 and 0-2, in which allowed Kelly to play, and basically it'll give them between 2 and 3 rotations in the front row. And she played great, and she had a few aces and a few kills that really, in that third set, kind of put us on the right path. And we came back and we ended up winning the third and fourth set and fighting till the end of the fifth set. It was such a great comeback. I think we were tied at 12-12, and I think New Braunfels just had a little bit more firepower at the very end. But that was such an emotional match. It was a loss, but it was definitely not a. It was a respectable loss. It was one of those things where you can walk off of the court with your head held high. And I know that the girls were devastated and, of course, so sad for Megan. But I think that they were proud of the way they fought, as anyone in the gym I think would agree.
Right, not a loss that you come off and you're upset about your performance. They had to feel great about the way that they performed and the ability to come back through all that adversity, and understandably so that they were so concerned about their teammate. It takes a while to get really refocused and back to the match. Right. Then obviously Coppell wins the state title over New Braunfels in the final. How do you feel if you were able to get to that final match against Coppell? Do you think this would have been the year that you take them down and win that state title?
Well, you can always do a what if. I thought our team was one of the best in the state. It would have been, we had played Coppell before this year, and we had lost to them early on. But I think that there's a sense of we know that team. We had prepared for that team as well, and the fact that we went to 5 with New Braunfels, and then New Braunfels turns around and goes to 5 with Coppell, and we did it without Megan. I think that had the injury not occurred, and this is always one of those what ifs,
right.
But I believe that we are one of the best. It would have been a good match, and I think the difference, especially when you get to that level, it's any given day. I mean, you could play Coppell one week and then play Coppell the following week, and it may be different. But Coppell's a very good team. They've got they got a lot of studs on their team, and they've got a great coach. And so I think that they're deserving of a state championship, but I would have really liked to have that opportunity to face them.
Going into next season's play, you're going to lose a lot of talent from this year's team, but you're also going to return a lot of talent and some talent that's going to be brought up. How do you feel about your chances next year already, just with the early outlook on the players you're going to have back?
Oh, I think we're going to be, you always rebound. Everyone says, the last 2 years we've lost some major players, some major starters, and it'll be a fun year because we have the talent. Now we just have to do that chemistry thing. something I want to brag on, Megan, real quick, she was talking to our assistant coach, Coach Brash, after the match, and she said, apparently she said to her, she said, maybe this is a God thing that I got hurt, and it showed the rest of the team that they could do it without me next year. And that's such a cool thing for a high school kid to say. I mean, that's special. And I really think that while, we have Kaylee Sieber who's going to be missed, Kelly Coop who's going to be missed, Krista Bukovic, Emma Meyer, Haley Dickshot, Megan, and Caitlin Mills, they're all going to be missed. I think that we're getting to that point in the program where they want year after year to have a perennial powerhouse, and I think that that's what this team has done. This particular group of seniors, they have really set a standard for what McKinney Boyd volleyball is, and I'm grateful for that.
Some teams, the legacy that they leave on from past years is maybe records or maybe a state championship, something like that. For this team, I feel like for you, it's more of, that chemistry, that bond, and that leadership that they showed throughout the year.
Oh, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we had two girls, Kaylee and Megan, made varsity their freshman year. Krista Bukovic made varsity her sophomore year, and then everyone else came in on their junior year, and it really showed just the consistency and the leadership and the focus that they had from an early age on to where they are, and it showed. It showed. I think that, Megan and Kaylee's freshman year, we didn't even make playoffs. I mean, that was probably I'm sorry, we did. That was 2008 when we did make playoffs. 2009, we lost an area round against South Lake Carroll, but just the team chemistry and the lack of leadership then that we actually have now, it was just solid. I mean, I'm proud of this group for sure.
I'd have to say, just as an outsider looking in, proud of them as well. They certainly represented Boyd well throughout the whole entire season. Coach, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For the McKinney Boyd Lady Broncos, that's the end of their year, a semifinal appearance in the state tournament, second straight year that they appeared in the state tournament in the Final Four. Last year was a state final appearance against Coppell. This year they lost to New Braunfels, but certainly a great team that played well all year long.